Hey guys, this weekend I saw The Guilt Trip starring Seth Rogen and Barbara Streisand. This is With a K Review. I'm Victor. Let's get to it. So I decided to go see this movie because I thought it was going to be one of those comedies that was going to be like a diamond in the rough. Kind of like The Hangover was. When I went to go see that one, I thought it was going to be horrible, but by the end of it, it was actually really good. And then I decided to see the sequel and pay to see the same movie twice. So this movie is directed by Anne Fletcher, and she's directed a couple other films. She's directed Step Up, and she also directed the 2009 hit The Proposal, which is one of the best romantic comedies, and I'd highly recommend you guys go see that one. And as a side note, she is also a professional dance choreographer. So the premise of the movie has Seth Rogen playing a scientist who invents an organic cleaning solution, and he decides to go on a trip across the US to sell it to different companies. And he decides to take his mother, who's going through a rough time in her life, along with him so she can find happiness again. Now, in a mother-son comedy movie where you have the mother being embarrassing and overbearing on the son, you not only need the two characters to have chemistry between each other, but you also need those characters to have really good banter between them. And surprisingly enough, the chemistry between these two actors on screen is perfect. But there's one small problem, and it kind of has to do with the script. The screenplay for this movie was written by Dan Fogelman, and it was actually based on a trip that this guy actually took with his mother on the same destinations in the movie. He also wrote Tangled, Crazy Stupid Love, and both car movies for Pixar. And all those have really won Academy Awards and Golden Globe Awards. So my question is, why weren't there aliens? Just kidding. No, seriously, why weren't there any aliens? Even though this movie is rated PG-13, I don't think a lot of people understand what this movie actually is. Even though it's rated PG-13, it's only rated that because they drop a few F-bomb and S-bombs throughout the entire film. I think a lot of people expect this movie to be a really raunchy comedy because it has Seth Rogen in it, and that's what we've seen a lot of stuff from him. But it's actually a movie that tells a real story about how a mother and son go across country and they have a real adventure. It's not one of those that, they go and they have this huge, outrageous things happening to them. It actually is more realistic, and that's what makes the movie good. Now, there are funny scenes in the movie, and I did generally laugh throughout the entire film, but there wasn't anything that was really overly funny. There were a lot of small parts in the movie that I wish they would have brought out more, especially with the mother and especially with the son. But in general, Barbara Streisand and Seth Rogen did a really good job in this movie interacting with each other, and that's what makes this movie good. I'm going to give this movie a 2.5K review because Barbara Streisand does do a good job with all her comedic roles, and so does Seth Rogen. But what really makes this movie good is that you can go see this movie with your mom, or you can just rent it and then call her later about it, and that's kind of what I did. So basically with this movie, I would skip it in theaters and just make sure to rent it when it comes out, and make sure to call your mother because she misses you. In fact, hold on just a second. My mom's not answering the phone. My mother is not answering the phone. It's probably because I'm trying the home phone. Let me try her cell phone. Okay, now I'm trying her phone.
Hello?
Hey, Mom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, do you want to help me end my show?
Didn't you say that you were going to do that yesterday?
Yeah, I got behind on schedule, but can you help me end my show? Okay, are you ready? All you have to do is say, if you don't like what you're watching, you can turn it off. Alright, go ahead and say it now.
If you don't like what you're watching, you can turn it off.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, guys.